Hey guys, welcome back to That Generator Guy. Today I got something interesting. It's a Firman Inverter generator. Customer said it won't start. He said last time he was running it was 6 months ago and it was surging. And now, 6 months later, he tried turning it on and it won't start. So to me, I hear that a lot. It's usually a dirty carburetor, but he did mention he also put fuel stabilizer in there. So that should keep the gas good and prevent it from at least completely not starting. First thing I noticed was this is actually a carburetor that goes on this generator. It sits in there like this, is that the throttle valve was in this position. Which is closed, so it's not going to want to start anyways, but I did fix that. I opened it up to wide open throttle on the generator. Still wouldn't start. But what I did notice was this thing has no compression when I pull that pull cord. So now I'm thinking that the issue is with the valves. So I just wanted to run you through this. It probably is going to need valves, a valve adjustment, but I wanted to show you guys how we can go ahead and verify that and how to adjust them. First things you need to do is get rid of this panel right here. Remove that spark plug. Set those bolts somewhere where you won't lose them. You might need to whack this to get it off. And this intake valve, the valve lash is so big I can almost get the tip of my finger in there. So I'm amazed it was running at all. See if I can kind of show you up close, not too wonky, but the valve lash on that is like 1/4 inch, so that's definitely wrong. I do have my cheat sheet here that I print and laminate for certain engines, and this is a engine model 195. If you actually go just down below and right there on the engine, you can see it says SF195. So 195, so it's a 192 cubic centimeter displacement, and that's millimeters. So we should be at 3 to 4.7 thousandths of an inch. So we're pretty far off from that. So it's not actually getting any fuel, which this is actually an ideal situation. You don't want the exhaust one to have a wide lash and then it can't breathe out. So I'd rather it not get fuel than have a bunch of fuel, not get burnt, eventually make its way into the exhaust and potentially a really nasty backfire. Yeah, so it's like on that, if I pull through, it's on the intake stroke. See, look at that, it just slipped right off of that push rod. Crazy. I cannot believe it's that loose. Okay, so let's get into how to fix this. You're gonna need a feeler gauge, and you will need a 14 millimeter and 10 millimeter wrenches. I adjust the valves one at a time, just so I don't have to worry about top dead center. Once the exhaust is in the fully open position, so I'm not getting bumped, but boom, the exhaust is all open. Now I know that nothing should be happening on the intake side, so I can go ahead and adjust that valve. There are larger engines that say, you know, adjust the lash at like 25 degrees past top dead center. That's not the case here, nor will it be for any of the small generators or any of these small engines. Get a towel. I like to kind of clean the oil off of this stud, because I don't want these threads lubricated. I want them to be tight. And then just by spinning them on and spinning them off, I'm getting oil all over these threads. So when I go to torque it down, it still might have the potential to back off again. I've had that happen before, where I just adjust the valves and send it on its way. And I've had customers call back and say, you know, it's not starting again, and it turns out, even though I torqued it down real tight, the valve came loose again, or not the valve, the rocker arm came loose. So just give everything a shot of brake cleaner. Probably put that down so you can see what I'm doing here. Taking these parts and just kind of rinsing them, get all that oil off. And then this isn't something that you want in the oil, so I'll actually remove this rocker arm. I'm not going to spray that, and then I just want to get this stud. That's it. So I'll put my rag in here and I'll just kind of spritz it on there and trying to clean off the oil on that stud, so it's just a clean metal. But that's all you want to get this on. Good, that feels nice and dry. Alright, so try not to touch this. That rocker arm put back on there. Get this nut on here. And put our jam nut on there. Okay. Now remember we said that the lash should be, okay, 3/1000 for the intake and probably around 4.5 thousandths for the exhaust. So remember, we had a 1/4 inch basically of lash. Wow. So that's what we should have. It's like thinner than a piece of paper. So let's go ahead and check that now, see where we're at. Should mention, it doesn't need to be exactly 3. It can be probably up to 4.5 on the intake as well, but generally you want to go a little tighter on the intake, probably closer to the smaller number, and on the exhaust for the range of the gap for the valve lash, you want to be on the upper end. So it says 3/1000 up to 4.7 thousandths of an inch. So ideally we want to get closer to 3/1000 on the intake and probably closer to 4.5 thousandths on the exhaust side. Perfectly tighten that up a little better. So I'm going to kind of snug this down a little bit, and then I'm going to recheck this before we really send it home, because these can be kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, see, just by tightening it down, it's too tight to fit that in there. So don't just loosen up the back one, because you might move the whole stud. So crack it loose and back that one up. Looks like I missed it. That's a little too tight. I think that's going to be good right there. You just want a little bit of drag while you're going through here. Okay. And then now what I'll go ahead and do is get it on the intake stroke. Oh, that's the compression stroke. Man. Well, it's definitely building compression now. That almost feels like that intake valve is hitting the piston. Which would really not be good. Oh, it's even worse. It didn't have that much lash. This valve is stuck. It's stuck open. Oh yeah. Okay. So, that is an extremely expensive fix for a generator that's not under warranty. So I will try and save this by seeing if we can free up that valve. You know, no guarantees necessarily that it won't happen again in the future, but yeah, that's going to take a long time to pull apart that one generator and replace the head. So instead of basically trashing the generator, yeah, get these this trim tools, just because they have that nice kind of claw foot shape, and kind of get in here any way you can and see if you can pry up on this. Oh, did it pop? No, that came off. Holy cow. How did that happen? It's like the exhaust somehow knew the intake was having problems and got jealous. That push rod just fell off. Dang it. What a bummer. This is taking way too long. Speed that process up. Okay, so see that the camshaft is pushing these up and down like it should. This could take quite a long time. So if I can't get it quick, I'll probably just end up showing you the end result. But generally, so what I'll do is I'll try and tap it back and forth so it doesn't want to come back towards me. And see if I can commence it that way. And then to come back this way. Yeah, see, so just for reference, this valve, I can push it in with my hand, but this one's just, it's already fully extended. What's gonna be best way? Try this again. Remember, if you run into a situation like this, it's okay if you kind of goof the head up a little bit. I'm not saying that's what you're aiming for, but it's either replace the head for this one, or do this to try and save it. I think these are like $1,000, so probably doesn't want it to go in the trash. Oh man. I think I got it all the way out now. It's still so tight. So I'll put this on here and I will give her a few taps, send it back. Not going to want to get around that. Why don't we take that out? I'll put my scope in there and see if we can't tell if maybe it's bent. Because maybe it got punched somehow by being stuck open. That would definitely what was that thought? I would definitely make it impossible to get out, so I would hate to be completely wasting my energy on something that's just not going to work ever. He did mention that he just replaced the spark plug, so lots of oil on it. Let's get this to bottom. That's how to do it. Okay, that's as low as she goes. Go ahead and turn on my scope. Got this little cheap one from Amazon. They don't even try with the names anymore. The Depths Tech. Okay. Let's see if I can get that oriented properly. It's about exactly upside down. There we go. So, I don't know if you can see that. Tons of oil in there. Not a good sign. And what is that? That right there. Looks like a gouge. Looks like the valve hit the piston. So it is going to be bent, and there is no way I'm gonna be able to get that thing freed up. So I was wasting my time. And let's see if we can rotate this camera. We can get a peek at the valve. There it is. My, that is wet. Holy cow. Lots of carbon buildup, lots of oil. So the cross hatching on the cylinder wall still looks pretty fantastic. Yuck. So it looks like I'm gonna have to call this customer and recommend a new head on the engine, which is probably gonna run about the price of a used generator. Just because, I mean, you can see it's literally buried and covered in plastic, and everything has to come off and apart. So it is very, very time consuming. You know, I'm not sure what happened, other than I guess that valve got completely stuck, probably right when he shut it off for whatever reason. Maybe when the generator shut off, it stopped with the intake valve closed, or open rather, so it was sucking in, and it sat there. Something happened, because it got stuck like that, and then when he tried to pull it, it obviously punched, the piston came up and punched that valve, so bent it, so now we can't get it out, and that's a real bummer, because had he have somehow known about it, we probably could have just freed it back up. But yeah, this one's probably done for. All right, well, hope this doesn't happen to you, and I hope this helped. All right, take care.